Welcome to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. I'm Rick Ripma, your hardworking mortgage guy, and I've been in real estate and mortgages for over 34 years. I've helped over 5,300 folks finance their homes. My team and I believe in custom tailored loans, not the one-size-fits-all approach. We believe there is a right mortgage for you, and we believe we are the team to deliver it.
And I'm Ian Arnold, part of Rick's hardworking mortgage team. I've been in the financial industry for 15 years, helping customers rebuild their credit to get the best possible interest rate. I have a passion in helping you secure your overall real estate dreams, and for anything like me, pay your home off even faster.
And for any information on mortgages or Indiana's real estate market, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. Or you can give us a call at 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And on our website, you can just find our information and contact us from there. And today we're really excited all the way from Martinsville, Indiana. We have Michelle Chandler and your Shelia and Michelle real estate team with Keller Williams.
With Keller Williams, yep.
Awesome. And so before real estate, I always like to start before real estate. What did you do? Where'd you grow up? You know, what was your life like before real estate?
Before real estate, I grew up in Martinsville, actually. I've known my husband pretty much the majority of my life.
Wow.
Never dated him till senior year, senior summer. And then I've been there. That's where we reside. That's where I do the majority of business. Now, we service all of Indiana because I have several agents on our team that service other areas, but that's where I've grown up. And I was a teacher before I was a real estate agent, 6th grade science.
You know, it's amazing how many, it's a great transition. Probably, It seems to me it must be the best transition into real estate. There are a tremendous amount of people who were teachers that became real estate agents, very successful like yourself. And why do you think that is? What is it that?
I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, but for me, I was handed a sheet my second year into teaching that told me how much I was going to make after 35 years. And I looked at that sheet and I was ticked. I was mad about it because I thought, and I wasn't a good teacher. That's the other thing we need to know. I was not a good teacher. I was a fun teacher, but I didn't care about the standardized tests like I should have. I cared about the kids a lot, but I lived my life by looking at that clock all day long. I was over that. Then they gave me a sheet on how much I'd make after 35 years. And I thought, that's not fair. What if I'm a better teacher than so-and-so? Or what if I treat the kids nicer than so-and-so? Or what if so-and-so is a better teacher than me? You're telling me I'm going to get paid the same as what they're going to be paid? I was like, no, I'm not doing this. So my husband and I had our first child 2 years into marriage. And I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm doing something else. And he said, okay. And my brother-in-law actually is the one that convinced me I would be good at this.
So before we get into how you got into real estate, your brother-in-law, what's your family like today? I know you have quite a few kids.
Yeah, I have a litter of kids. I have 4 kids, 3 girls and a boy. So my oldest just got married, and I guess now I have a new son-in-law. They're out in New York, living their best life. And then I have a daughter that is in college at SMU. She plays basketball. Then I have a daughter who is in the engineering program at Purdue. And then my son is a junior in high school. And my husband, who is truly the love of my life, he is literally my backbone in every single aspect of my entire life. He's also the CFO of our team and of our office, because I own the office and own our team. So he does all of making sure everybody gets paid what they're supposed to be getting paid and making sure all the bills get paid.
I bet everybody likes him.
Everybody loves him. Yeah, everybody loves him except for me when it comes time to the quote unquote business meeting we have to have. I hate looking at the spreadsheets, but my life is on a spreadsheet. So that's the makeup of my family. They don't know me. My kids don't even know me as a teacher because I didn't have any kids when I was a teacher. So
okay.
They find it kind of ridiculous that I once was in charge of a group of kids.
So from there, you were teaching, and then you decided to get into real estate. How did that go? How did you do that?
So I was looking for a part-time job because my husband was also a teacher at the time. He's a high school principal now and has been in administration for years and years. But at the time, we were living off of love, and I needed a part-time job because, like I said, I had our daughter. And while I was pregnant with her, my brother-in-law said, you should go into real estate. You'd probably be good at it. And so I started researching it. And it was such a huge financial commitment for my husband and I at the time because we had no money. And we literally were living paycheck to paycheck because it's a teacher's salary. And at the time, I think he was making like $28,000 or $30,000 a year. And here I was pregnant. We were going to have a baby. And so I said, okay, we'll try it. My husband said, you need to sell one house to break us even. Can you sell one house? And I said, oh, I can sell one house. And so that kind of is how it's gone. But I have a very competitive nature. I played volleyball in college. My husband was a football and basketball player in college. So like being competitive is what we are. And so it's been a great little safe place for me to be competitive and enjoy the hunt and the thrill of and the growth in it all. So.
And how did you get going? Because it's not always easy to get going
No.
in real estate, and you had to sell a house.
Yep. Had to sell a house, at least one.
One a year or one a month?
One a year is what he
year.
said. And then I sold my one a year. I passed a house every single day going to real estate school. I went for the 2-week course all day, every day. And I passed the same house. It was for sale by owner. And I told my husband on the way to church one day, I said, that's going to be my first house I sell. And he said, you go right ahead. And I said, I'm going to. And he said, you go right ahead. Because it was a nice house set up on a big hill. And I called him and they told me no. And they told me no probably 2 or 3 times. And I just kept calling them and saying, do you need any more information? I didn't know what information could I give them? I don't know. I needed to find my one house I promised my husband. And that was the very first house I ever sold. So when they decided to go with a realtor, they called me and they said, okay, you've stayed consistent. And it was a cash deal. And it was a nice house. And my broker, who was John Breck at the time, love that man to this day, really taught me a lot about who to be in real estate. That's a different story, but he's very instrumental in my life. I say I've John Breck somebody. It's now a verb to me. Like I've killed them with kindness. When you think you can't be any more kind to that person, John Breck them and just be nicer to them. But he said, I just want you to know, Michelle, they're not all like this. Like meaning you get, they call you, it's a cash deal, it's done, it was a piece of cake. And I thought, real estate's so easy. And so that was my very first deal. And I got started because when my kids would go down for a nap, I would start making calls during nap time. And I had a folder that had all of the expireds in it and all the for sale by owners that I passed. And I made notes every day. Called on Wednesday, October 3rd, told them I would call again on November 3rd. And every day I would go through that, and I was handwritten, and I would go through that, and I would just do that diligently. So I started out making my living on for sale by owners and expireds.
Yeah, and you worked.
Every day.
You worked, and
Every
you
day.
had a plan, and then
Yep.
you worked your plan,
Yep.
and you did what a lot of people don't want to do, which is cold call people. But you did it.
Yeah.
Because that's how you have to, maybe how you have to get going.
Yeah.
Now you do a lot of social media. It sounds like you get a lot of your
Yeah.
business from social media.
We do a lot of social media, but we also do cold calling. Still to this day, we do calling. Nobody likes to get the no. Nobody likes to be hung up on. But once you get kicked in the face a couple of times, you're like, well, my yes is around the corner, so I got to keep going because I'm going to get a yes. I just haven't gotten to it yet. So there's no way I'm going to bat 1,000 on no's. I'm
Right.
eventually going to get a yes. So if I have 50 no's, then I know my yes is coming. So I'm more eager to call after 20, 30, 50 calls because I'm like, there's a yes coming. I just got to get to it. And I'm certainly not going to stop now. It'd be like running a marathon and just stopping 15 feet before the finish line and be like, never mind. I'm done. Well, okay, then someone else is going to call them and that's going to be a person in their sphere. So we still cold call. We still do the same basics that we did when I first got started, but we do a lot of social media, a ton.
So you spend how long would you say each day or week do you spend on cold calls?
Oh, I wouldn't even say, I don't have a number for you on
Okay.
that because we're not, I don't mind. So I have a team of 9 people on my team. My business partner is retired. So we have 7 people that sell. We just hired a new gal to be our partner. So she came from the auto world. She's very knowledgeable about cold calling, not afraid to make that call. But for most of us, we don't like it. So I don't micromanage and I don't motivate. Either you can manage yourself and you can motivate yourself, or my team's not a good spot for you. So I have a database that is massive and they can get in there and call anyone and everyone anytime they want to do it. But I'm not going to hover over you and tell you, you have to do it, you have to do it, you have to do it. Unless I have a client event. Now you're going to get in the database and call because now I got money on the line that you're going to get a yes. And when I have money on the line, then you are going to get in there and cold call, because I'm getting in there and cold calling too.
But it's not really a cold call at that point so much.
Sometimes, because we'll call a sphere, a neighborhood, and I might not know the people in the neighborhood. So yeah, if we're focusing on, like, if we have 3 houses in one neighborhood and we want to do a Friday night extravaganza and we have hors d'oeuvres and drinks and we're trying to make it like a party theme, yeah, we're cold calling. We're calling everybody we know, but we're also calling people in that neighborhood we don't know to invite them.
Well, that's the best people to have there.
100%. We want them to pick their new neighbor for sure. I always have wanted to send out this postcard. I've never done it because it's unprofessional and I wouldn't do it, but I do want to do it. Before I get out of real estate, I'm doing it. I want to send out a postcard with a little kid with their finger way up their nose, and it says, "Stop picking your nose and start picking your neighbor." And just send it to a neighborhood when I list house. I haven't done it yet, but I think it's funny, but not everybody has my sense of humor.
Do you already have the picture of your son or daughters?
I'll just take one of my kids, for sure.
So, but I think you made a great point, is that you're not there to motivate them. You are not there to hound on them and everything. Look, and Rick and I have had this conversation. We both manage people in past jobs and stuff like that, but you cannot motivate somebody or give them motivation. Either you want it or you don't. I can tell you how to do it. Now it's your job.
Yeah. So our team is probably put together a little different than most team. I don't like to think of it as a hierarchy, like there's a person on top, then there's
your husband's on top.
Of course. He actually lets me think I'm the boss. He calls me the boss, but when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, he's the boss. But anyway, I don't like the hierarchy of it. I like to run a parallel team. So if one person's taken out of that, we don't fall or crumble. We just relink to the next person to us, because there's no one person more important than the other. If I, God forbid, were to pass away in a car accident, my team could still function without me. If my director of ops, who is Brian Williams, decides he doesn't want to do this anymore, or something happened to him, we could still function without Brian. I don't want to function without Brian or Melanie or Amanda or Kyle or Ann or Gannon or Chris or Brooke. I don't want to function without any of them, but we could if we had to. And I look at it as a partnership. They don't work for me. We are partners. You're choosing every day to walk in my door. I'm choosing every day to walk into that same door. And so we're choosing each other every single day. We get up, we choose each other, because you can go whenever you want to go. I can go whenever I want to go. It is voluntary that you are coming in and joining forces with me today. Hopefully you do it every single day. And hopefully I do it every single day. So it's more of a parallel. If Gannon has the listing, then I work for Gannon, because he might look at me and be like, "Michelle, I need this. You got it. I'm here for you." When Gannon goes into a listing appointment, or Chris Cook goes into a listing appointment, they're going in there saying, "My team of 9 people will do the following things for you." It is not, "Well, I work on Michelle's team." I don't like that. And it took me forever to shake that out of Gannon. I love him. He's our younger guy. He's a business grad from IU, and he used to say, "This is my boss." And I would get in the car like, "Gannon, stop introducing me as your boss. I'm not your boss. We're partners. You're choosing me. I'm choosing you. We are partners in this." And so now he says it. He says, "This is my business partner, Michelle." But that's how I introduce them. That's how they introduce me. That's how we introduce our director of ops. These are my business partners. We all came to look at your house because we're trying to figure out a value for your house. And we have a ton of experience on our team, a ton, with Ann and Brian having, I think they have combined over 50 years, just the two of them.
Wow.
And they are hugely successful. They were huge successful agents without me ever involved in them. And they came and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about," and Brian said, "Have you ever thought about a director of ops?" And I went, "Well, I've kicked it around, but I'm not real sure." And then Ann called Brian and said, "Hey, is there room for me on the team?" Heck yeah. I mean, Ann is golden. She is just an amazing human being. And so I'm not begging anybody to come be on our team, and nobody's waiting to be begged to be on the team. If we're a good social fit and we have the same morals and values, come on, let's do it. And if not, it's okay. You'll be successful in your way. I'll be successful in my way. No harm, no foul.
Yep. And if somebody's wanting to work with your great team, how would they get in contact with you guys?
They would call me. They could call my number, which is 317-413-8352, or you could text me. Text is a much quicker response. Our theory is we want to treat you and your family the same way I want you to treat my 87-year-old mother. I want you to take care of them. I want you to love them. I want you to understand their situation, and client first, always, 100% of the time. I don't care if it means $0 for you or $0 for the team. Client comes first. We are not going to make a business decision that would impact the sale in any way for that client for it to benefit us first. Absolutely not.
So the best way to get a hold of you is your call or text,
Yep.
317-413-8352.
100%.
All right.
That's me. That's my direct line. That's not even like an office line. That you will get me 24/7. I don't have office hours. I know there are real estate agents that want to work between this hour and this hour. Not me. I don't want you to go to bed and worry about something. If I can answer it in 2 seconds, shoot me a text or call me. I'll get you the answer. If I don't have the answer, I'll get you the answer. So I work all the time, but my kids and family don't know any different. And so, a lot of people, worry about, are my kids going to suffer? My kids don't know any different. They think this is what every mom does. So
yeah, you've got them fooled.
I totally 100%. During COVID, I actually fixed a big breakfast and a big late lunch, and all 4 of my kids were sitting there. And one of my kids goes, "Is this what it would be like if you were a stay-at-home mom?" And I kind of thought for a second, my feelings almost got hurt. And I was like, yeah, I guess it would be. And I said, would you rather me have been a stay-at-home? I didn't even get it out. And all of them in unison were like, nope. So either the food wasn't very good or they liked the lifestyle in which they're living. I don't know which.
To get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can call us at 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And thanks for listening to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. The gurus we interview share valuable insights. They reveal their strengths, personalities, and how they'll work for you. While we hardworking mortgage guys secure your best mortgage, real estate gurus work hard too. They avoid problems the amateurs don't see. They listen and they find unrealized opportunities. If you're buying or selling a home, a real estate guru is a valuable asset. And if you are buying or selling a home, keep listening and definitely call one of Indy's real estate gurus.
All right, Michelle. So we're going to take a little sidestep from real estate. And now that you got a little bit more free time, not planning a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes.
What if I gave you 24 hours, you can do anything you want. What do we catch you doing for fun?
You catch me golfing with my family because they all golf. You would catch me on our boat because we all love boating. And you would just catch me hanging out with them. I mean, and we'd be playing something, doing something where there is a winner and a loser. My family is not into having ties and anything. So we play pickleball, we play poker, we play craps together. We have a big craps table down in the basement. We play Monopoly, which gets fierce. But just we're doers. We love to keep score and there to be a winner or loser and a whole lot of razzing to go on in between. And you'd be seeing me hang out with my peeps, my crew, and my besties. So
where's your favorite place to play golf at?
Oh, okay. So,
or where do you win at?
Well, never. I do not. I'm not exactly a great golfer. So we're members at Foxcliff Country Club, which is in Martinsville, actually. We go there a lot because we are members. So I do love that. I would consider it my home course because I am a part of a ladies golf league, which I love all my ladies at the golf league. So I would say that's where we play the most. But we just went down to Bloomington and played down in Eagles Point because we went down there, played a round of 18 holes golf, and then just went right over to the boat, which is over at Lake Monroe, and then spent the rest of the day there. So, I mean, it doesn't matter to us. We'll play anywhere. We're not picky.
So what kind of boat do you have? Switching.
The kind that a tube goes behind or skis go behind or like, you know what? The most important thing it was a COVID purchase because my kids came home from college because I had one at the time playing volleyball, Division I volleyball, and then one at the time playing Division I basketball. And they came home, and then I had 2 high schoolers. And so we needed something to do. So we ended up, like the rest of the world, bought a boat and went and spent time on the boat. And but I grew up boating. So skiing, tubing, kneeboarding, just floating around. That is what we do. And the most important thing about the purchase of the boat was how many people can I get on this boat? Because I have 4 kids and I want them all on this boat with me all the time. So I don't know what kind of boat. I don't know what kind of boat it is.
A big one.
Enough to fit the 6 of us and a couple of friends.
Yeah, it sounds like a pontoon, although a pontoon may not have the power.
No, it's not a pontoon. It's the kind where you have people that can sit in the front. It's a crown line. That's what it is.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
I don't know.
I know what you're talking about.
You got seats in the front. You got seats in the back.
It's a speedboat. It has a big motor. It's a speedboat. And you go ski behind it.
There you go.
That's what matters.
That's what I have.
That's what matters, right?
That's what I have.
All right. So I got to ask one other question to that story. Okay. So when your kids were little, did they play basketball or any sports where they didn't keep score?
No. One time, fun about my son, he played baseball, and it was like as early as you could get him in. He was dying to play something because his sisters all played something. And so we put him in baseball, and we have a gym at our house. It's a glorified pole barn with a sports court and basketball goals. And we used to play what we called waffle ball dodgeball.
Okay.
So we didn't have enough to field a team because there was only 6 of us. So we could throw the wiffle ball. It's wiffle ball dodgeball. That's what it's called. And you could throw the ball and hit the person with them and get them out like kickball, but yet you swung and hit it with a bat. So it was makeup game. It's what we did all the time. And so my little one decided he wanted to play baseball. So we put him in there. And in this league, everybody gets to bat one time around, and then you switch infielders, batters.
Okay.
And he fielded a ball, tagged first base, and he said, "Mom, the kid is," he said, the referee just let him stay there. And he looked at the little boy, and I'm sitting in the stands, and he says to the little boy, "You're out." And the little boy just kind of looks at him, and he goes, "You're out. I touched the base before you got to it. You're out." And he got real intense. And then he looked at the coach, and he said, "Tell him he's out." And the coach was like, "No, he can stay there." So Chase comes over to the sideline, and he yells up into the stands, "Mom, I tagged the base first. Tell him he's out." And we had to explain to him that there really weren't outs, and that there weren't, everybody gets a chance. He hated it and never wanted to play again, and he didn't.
Yeah,
Never played again.
I fully understand.
He was mad about it. Mad.
Well, I started coaching my kids in soccer when they first started, and it's interesting. All the parents are like, "Oh, we don't keep score. We don't do this." And I somewhat understand to a point. But then they don't realize that the kids are going, "We're up 2-0. It's 2-1 now. We're still winning.
We're winning."
And they're keeping score.
Oh, yeah.
And the parents are like, "Oh, no, don't keep score." I'm like, the kids are counting.
Yeah, and the parents are counting too. Let's not lie. They all get in the car and go, "You won because it was 2-0.
Yep.
Like they all did.
Everybody keeps score.
But I think it's so crucial that kids get to be a winner and a loser. It's okay to be a loser. I've been a loser probably more times than I've ever been a winner on something. But if you don't learn how to fail at something, you're not going to be able to appreciate the times to succeed. And you're not even going to know how to succeed if you don't know how to fail. So my huge thing, I say it all the time, my kids will make fun of me if they ever watch this, but I always say you do not have defining moments in your life. You have who you are, and what you are is how you prepared and how you responded to the moment. So that moment is not defining to you. Whether you fail or succeed, that's not a defining moment. Defining is how you prepared and how you responded. That is your defining moments.
But here, let's put this in. Let's switch this towards real estate.
Mm-hmm.
How many times did you fail before succeeding? And now you're really, really, you're a guru. So,
Oh, that's sweet.
but you failed so many times,
Mm-hmm.
and you even today you'll fail once or twice, but you still keep going.
I fail all the time. Let's just call a spade a spade. I fail all the time. I fail as a mom. I fail as a wife. I definitely fail as a husband. As a wife, I failed my best friend before. She's actually called me out when it was really important for Sheila and I to be number one in our company. It's all we cared about. She came to me and she goes, "Look, dude, you have said no to me for a good solid year. Something's got to change, and you're losing friends over it." So like I fail all the time, but if you surround yourself by people who love you enough to come and tell you you're failing, even when you don't know you're failing and you think you're killing it out of the game, because we were number one that year in our company. But it almost cost me the things that mattered the most to me. So failing, unfortunately, I'm real comfortable with. But if you surround yourself by great people, they will let you fail, and then they're going to pull you out of it and be like, "Okay, you just failed that. Now let's do it this way. Like, hear me out. Like, you're better than this. I want you to be better than this." So failing isn't scary. And I fail every day on something. There is no way I don't. All I try to do is let my failures have the least amount of impact on the people that surround me, and I feel like that's a win.
And by failing, if you learn from it, you become better.
Absolutely.
That's the thing for me. It's like, we're always trying to improve.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you don't improve things if it's doing well.
Right.
You improve things when it's like, that's not working the way we wanted
Right.
it to. We need to do something different.
Right. And it's not even in real estate. It's weird because a lot of people think you're money hungry if you're doing all these transactions, because our team is, we're going to probably break 60 million this year. I say that out loud and that's scary, but if your goals don't scare you, they're not high enough. And I stole that line from my daughter. So we're going to break over 60 million. Last year, we should have done it, but 3 of them slid over into January closings that should have closed in December, but for one reason or another. But we're on our track to do that. And so if we strive to do that, people a lot of times think, oh, well, they're money hungry. No. Don't get it wrong. I want the paycheck because it means I did it right. And if I did it right, then somebody was positively impacted by that. And so I don't even see my paychecks. I don't even know what they are. I couldn't tell you if I have $1 in the bank or no dollars in the bank. Those get direct deposited. And then Mr. Spreadsheet, the love of my life, does whatever he feels like needs to be done with it. I mean, I can be included on that anytime I want, but I just don't want to be. Yeah. So I don't even see the money. I don't even know it's there or isn't there. It's about getting it done right. And that's the only way I know I did it right, is if I'm at a closing table and there's a closing, which happens to result in the only way I get paid and the only way my team gets paid. Right. So
yeah, I understand. The first year I did 110 million. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a big deal, right? Yeah. But you know what's funny? I don't keep track. Mm-hmm. They had to tell me. I don't keep track. Yep. Because I just worry about taking care of as many people as I can. That's what you try to do.
Right. So a lot of people at the beginning of the year will say, well, what is your goal? Like, give us your goal. Carpenter used to do this. I worked, like I said, for John Breck. Love that man. And they always wanted us to set a goal at the beginning of the year. And I just wouldn't do it because I'm so goal oriented. I would run over my own family, and it's just the way I am programmed. And so my goal every year, I'm going to sell one house because my husband said that's what I have to do to break even. And so that was my goal. And whatever happened beyond that, that's bonus, And so I've also been very blessed with a husband who's always had a salary to pay all of our bills. We don't live outside of what my husband, his salary can afford us. So because we were so scared on real estate, you just don't know what you're going to get. And so by doing that, we just kind of keep going. And I, honest to God, lost the track of my thought process on that. But I don't even remember where I was going with it. But
we're talking about goals.
There we go. So I don't set a goal. My goal every year, this is my only goal I have, is I want every single person on my team at the same time to be into the 6-figure salary. I don't care what that number starts with. I don't care if it started with a 3. I would be thrilled for that person. So I want them all to make 6 figures, my admin, my director of marketing, and my transaction coordinator included. So however I can make that happen, that's my goal. I get close, but I don't ever get them all in there at the same time. But I get close. So
yeah. So we don't want your husband yelling at you for not getting your one house. Mm-hmm. So what's the best way somebody can contact you if they're looking to buy or sell a home?
Yes. My cell phone, my direct cell line, it goes straight to me. It does not go to an office. It does not go on an answer machine. It's 317-413-8352. You can call me or text me, 317-413-8352. Anytime, day or night, I got your answers. And if I don't, I'll get them for you.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, it's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. And that website, you can get a lot of our information, but you can also contact us from there, or you can give us a call at 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938.
All right, and now we'll get into the question of the week. And the question of the week is sponsored by, hey, Rick and I, the hardworking mortgage guys, where we believe in helping and supporting you and your realtor by sending constant updates through the loan process. We don't like living in a black hole, so we don't allow you to live in a black hole. All right, so here's the question of the week for you.
All right.
What was your first car?
My first car, I think it was a Ford Tempo that my parents let me drive. And then I drove something else that was really crappy. And then my dad and mom bought me a Ford Probe. So I went through a few of them, not because of wrecks, just because they were all old and ongoing. So,
do you care about cars?
Not one bit. I need something big. That is my biggest concern. Is I drive a large SUV now. I've had it for like 15 years. Then my husband, I told him I didn't need a large SUV because I was just driving Chase around. And so he bought me a car. I complained about it for a year, apparently. Did not realize I was complaining about it for a year. But I bought an 8x10 area rug and came out of Home Goods trying to put it in my car and looked at my car, forgot I didn't have my big SUV. And I had to call him to come get it. And then he came back with a large SUV. So I've always been in a large SUV. I just want a large SUV to fit an 8x10 area rug in and not have to call anybody to buy it.
There you go.
So, not a car person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand. My wife drives the same truck she's driven since 2013, and it's a pickup.
Yep.
For the same reason. She wants to have the room to put in whatever she wants to do.
I want to do what I want to do without having to call somebody to come help me.
And me, I like a little tiny car, and if I need help, she can come get me.
It wasn't until I inconvenienced my husband twice and said, could you bring the truck? I forgot that this won't fit my car. And then all of a sudden he swapped me out. I just went to go put my son, take him to school one day, and there sat my other large SUV that he went out and bought because he said, I was tired of hearing you complain about the car.
You didn't have to go buy it.
I've never bought a car. I have never bought a car in my life. My dad has bought my first car. The first two that I got to drive were theirs. Then he bought me my very first car. And then Carrie, my husband, has bought every single car after that. So, yeah. And when I had the goal of one house a year, I was getting kind of good at selling. And so I drove this minivan that we bought incredibly. It was an Aerostar minivan, only one sliding door. You know, I had two kids, and it was not that great of a car, and it was old, lots of miles. And we bought it for my sister-in-law and brother-in-law for probably next to nothing. They were trying to help us out because we were broke. And my husband said, if you sell, because I wanted a new car so bad, just more convenience for the kids. I wanted the fancy minivan where both doors open up, you know? And so he said, you sell 5 houses in 1 month, then you can get a new car. And I was like, all right. And I sure enough did it. And I said, this is the car I want. And I got a Montana minivan, and it was used. And I thought it was the greatest. It had a button that opened and closed the doors that my kids could do themselves. Love that thing.
It's one of those things. The car matters in real estate, even though you may not.
My husband feels like it does more than I do. Yeah. He is very adamant that what I pull up in has to be nice, because he says it matters. And especially with the volume that we do and kind of our price point that we find ourselves in a lot, he says it matters a lot. Yeah. Now, keep in mind, our kids drove a 2014 Jeep Liberty, no AC for years, back and forth, 50 miles one way to and from school. And no air conditioning. They'd come home and their hair would be all frizzed out, and they're like, "Can we please have air conditioning?" And my husband would always be like, "Oh, it's. I actually have an appointment to get that fixed." Never did.
Hey, kids have to learn.
They need to be reminded, you are broke and you own nothing. Just so you know, that shirt on your back, I own it. So you guys don't need to fight over it anymore on who's going to wear it, because it's mine. So you should ask me who's going to wear it. You own nothing.
So can you talk to my kids? Because that's what I tell them, but they don't believe that. But I need you to come over and tell my kids that.
Yeah, they own nothing. My husband has made that very clear to them. When they've gotten in trouble, they lose everything. He says your world will go dark. So they lose, all communication with friends, all, the frills of life. They've lost it all. So he will remind them. He's much better parent than I am. So he knows how to handle those high schoolers and how to raise kids. I am just like stand behind him and goes, yeah, what he says, He's a much better human being than I am too, by the way. He's one of the greatest people I know that walk this planet.
So Ian, just so you know, what you do is that's a soundbite. Only, even if it's just for your kids, you just take the soundbite of what she said, make sure they listen to it.
You know what? Give him to my husband. Let him. He's got this huge booming voice that's scary. And Chloe, I think my third daughter, she is this big. I mean, she's built like a dancer. She was a dancer. I think she's the only kid that was not scared of my husband, and she's the one that should have been. I mean, she's this tiny little thing, and he's got. She
probably had him wrapped around her little finger.
100%. 100%.
There's no reason to be scared of him.
No, 100%.
So what would you say your superpower or superpowers are? Okay.
Picking the right people to surround myself with. That's my superpower. My superpower is to find amazing, when I cannot express this enough, the people on my team, the Gannons, the Anns, the Bryans, the Chris's, the Sheilas, the Kyles, the Brooks, the Amandas and the Melanies. So my husband, my best friend Carmen, surrounding people that are so much better at being a human being than you are, that you have no choice but to step up your game as just a human being. So my superpower is finding amazing human beings and then watching them and going, I want to be like you when I grow up. And so when I get put in a situation, I try to think, what would Carmen do? What would Carrie do? What would Melanie do? How would Amanda do this? And then I just try to emulate them. It's really the only superpower I have.
No, I mean,
That's it.
I think that's a good one.
Yes.
That's it.
I mean, you got to put it, even like billionaires tell you, look, you don't want to be the smartest one in the room.
No.
So it's nice that you understand that, look, I got to have other smart people around me just so if I run into something, they know what to do.
I think it's sweet that you think I'm talking about intelligence. I am 100% always the middle of the pack or at the low end of that smart intelligence when I enter a room. And I'm totally okay with that. I am never the smartest person in a room, ever, guaranteed. But I'm also never, ever the nicest or the kindest or the most gentle or the most loving or the most Christ-following person in a room, because the people that I put myself in a room with are all of those things every day, 24/7. And I cannot tell you how much I aspire to be them as a human being. Outside of real estate, if I could just be who they are to me, to other people, that's a win. Real estate is a secondary thing that will just follow that. And most of our business is by sphere and by treating people the way you would want somebody to treat your 87-year-old mother who has diamonds in a drawer that don't even know that they're there, who has a coin collection worth $160,000 that doesn't even know it's there, and you being able to help find somebody to help them with that without taking advantage of them. So it is just a matter of treating somebody with kindness and love and having a servant's heart. I'm not always good at that. Please do not think that this is original from Michelle Chandler. It is not. It is original from the people I surround myself with.
Yeah. I personally think it's the most important thing in a real estate agent. There's a lot of great people, or a lot of great agents, but I think one of the most impressive things to me is our guru agents. Many of them are phenomenal people.
Yeah.
And that matters. To me, that's more important than everything else.
You know, this is a little glimpse of it. So Brian Williams joined my team. So Shelia retired, Brian joined. And he came to me and said, have you thought about having a director of ops? It's something I'd be interested in. He's a great trainer. He's got a heart of gold. He'll do anything for anybody. And I wasn't going to pass that up. I said, yes. I didn't even know what he was going to be a director of ops about, but I was like, yes, sir, for you. Absolutely. And I've known Ann Jackson for years and years and years. And she never approached me about being on our team. But as soon as I got Brian, I got Gannon. And as soon as I got Brian and Gannon, then Ann called Brian and said, do you think there'd be room on your team for me? She never called me. And that doesn't hurt my feelings. What that says to me is she's more comfortable having tough conversations with Brian than she is with me. And then that tells me that first hire was the right hire, because she wants to talk to him, not to talk to me, which I love that. So I cannot express enough that it is the people. It is. And I love them. I love them because technically you could scale back what you sell and just do it, maybe you and an admin, and make more money because the expense of a team is huge. But these are my peeps.
Right.
Like, I love them. I don't want to do anything without them. I don't even want to plan a wedding without them. I don't want anything in my life to be without them. So.
Yep. All right. So I know you like telling stories, so I want to hear a good one. Cool. We heard about your first deal and how memorable it was, but let's hear about another one of your more recent memorable deals.
Okay, so I have a lady. I will not say her name, but I love her. She swears like a sailor. She throws the F-bomb around anywhere she is. She's a little bit rough around the edges. She's tatted from head to toe. And she's one of my favorite people that walk this planet. She called me kind of I wouldn't say hysterical, but she called me because she was mad. She was mad. She had called another real estate agent, wanted to see this house. And from talking to her on the phone, the other real estate agent wasn't really willing to show it to her. And from woman to woman, there was no way I was going to let a woman feel disrespected by another woman. So I said, okay, where are you? I'm coming. And usually we want to make sure somebody's pre-approved. We want to make sure. I didn't care. Today I didn't care. I don't care if she can't afford a piece of gum. I'm going to show her this house. And so I met her there. We looked at the house, had no idea what was going on there. And she thanked me. She was so sweet. And then after that, I showed her a few more houses. Then come to find out she had a house to sell that she owned free and clear. And she bought a house and she referred her best friend to us. And she walks into my office this day and she will yell, where is Michelle Chandler? Bring that bee out here, and it's out of love. And every one of us come to see her because what I learned in that transaction, I thought I was going to be the blessing to her because she needed a little bit of her grandma got in a little bit of a situation and somebody took advantage of grandma. And so my husband, as generous as he is and as kind as he is, allowed me to step in and financially help grandma out to get her so their house wasn't going to be taken. And Jennifer was so appreciative of that. I just said her name. But anyway, Jennifer was so appreciative of that. And she taught me that if you are in her circle, then there is no, you can't distinguish between family and friend. If you're loved by her, I will cry because I think to this day, I try to look at people the way that she looked at me. And I thought I was going to be her blessing. And I left that whole transaction, the one being blessed, because the way she taught me how to love a friend changed everything. It changed absolutely everything and everyone that I look at differently because of the way she looked at me in my life. And she had no judgment on me. I had no judgment on her. And to this day, when she comes to my office to pick up a pie, or if she texts me, she's still throwing out expletives and we all come running because we adore her, because she is unabashedly who she is. And either you like her and you love her or you don't, and she doesn't care. And I thought, gosh, if I could bottle her up and figure out how to do that every minute of every day, I'm going to be all right. So I have to think about her a lot because she was my blessing. I was not her blessing. And you would have thought looking at the transaction, oh, Michelle, you're going to be such a big blessing to her. No, that was not. I'm telling you, she has paid me 10 times over in just how to love somebody, even when they don't seem like you want to love them. So that would be my most memorable transaction. And that was transactions. So to the real estate lady who did not want to take her call or give her the time of day because you passed judgment, thank you very much. You are MVP and keep on going because you're on my team, whether you realize it or not.
That is a struggle sometimes for people, is not to judge.
You know what? You don't know the situation.
I know.
And when my kids were little, I would kick them out of the car and send them into school. And I would always say, find somebody to sit by that's sitting by themselves, because you don't know what they had to go through this morning to get to school. You don't know if somebody hugged them. You don't know if they had any clothes. You don't even know if they had breakfast today. Go love somebody that you think needs love today. And it's what you do in real estate every day. You're walking into one situation and you can collect all the data you think you want to collect. And then what you find out middle of the transaction is they're getting a divorce. They're both devastated and there's kids involved. And you didn't know that all up front, but nothing, that path should never have changed because you found that information. If you start out treating them the way they deserve to be treated, whether you know anything about them or not, then no matter what they're going through, they're going to feel the love all the way through that transaction. And maybe it's just somebody that wants to move next door, which we've done that. They literally bought the house across the street, and there was no, issues with them, but you still treat them with kindness and love and try to meet them where they're at, no matter what they're going through, because it could be you tomorrow. I mean, you're a couple good decisions away from being in that terrible situation that maybe they're facing. I don't know, but why am I getting to not have to face that problem and you are? I don't know, but I'm going to be here for you, and I'm certainly not going to pass judgment because I don't want you casting any judgment on me. I got my own problems, and I've got my own things to answer when I get to heaven.
Right. We all have our own issues.
Yeah, there's a few I'm going to have to go like, Jesus is going to be like, Michelle. I'm going to be like, can we talk about that over here on the side?
I don't want that out to everybody.
No. But we've all messed up, so I do it daily.
Yep.
So
if you were talking to a first-time home buyer, what would you tell them? What are the benefits that they're going to get by owning a home over renting?
You're paying someone else's mortgage, whether you're a renter or whether you're going to be a mortgage. You might as well pay yourself that money. It makes no sense. And I have rentals, and we have several rentals because that's my retirement, because I don't have a retirement plan. So my husband has devised my retirement plan through rentals, which he manages. He deals with renters all the time. And we tell him all the time, quit being a renter. Go buy a house. Let's help you find a house, because I have to charge a renter more than what it would cost them to own the home.
Right.
to cover my costs and anything that might go wrong with the house while they're there. So go do that for yourself. Put yourself in that position. So go buy a house and invest in yourself. Stop investing in me or another landlord. Invest in yourself. Hands down. And you get a tax credit back when for all the interest that you paid that year. That's a tax deduction. Then you get a tax credit for being a homeowner, or if you're a veteran, and there's all these other tax credits. And there's plenty of loans that you could have that you don't even need any money down. I mean, you guys are the experts on that. I stay in my lane. That's about all I say when it comes to lending, and then I turn them over to lenders because I'm not going to be trying to be the expert where I am not an expert. But let me get you, if you have no money to put down, it's okay. Let me get you in front of a lender that can give you options, because you still have options to invest in yourself, even if you don't have any money down to put down on a house. We can still make this happen for you.
There's quite a few programs, really.
Yes.
Some
and people
great
don't realize
options.
that.
Yes.
People don't realize that. And everybody's waiting for these interest rates. Look at the history of interest rates. They are fine. They're average. They're average over the last 23 years. Today, this is an average interest rate. It is not high. It is high from our 2.5% and 3%, but it took a global pandemic and an election year to fall at the same time. God help us if we have that again. We don't want that.
No, we don't.
Just for our economy and our people alone in our world, we don't want that.
Right.
So you can hold your breath and wait for those interest rates to come down all day long. Somebody else is buying your good investment, because there are still good investments to be had.
Right.
So, and there's ways around to get those interest rates down. My director of ops says it all the time. He says, marry the house, date the rate. He goes, when that interest rate drops, refinance. You're going to be fine. We can have the seller even pay some of your points down to get that interest rate down to where it's a more comfortable payment for you. But don't be waiting. Do not be waiting. Somebody else is going to invest in themselves. You might as well be investing in yourself too.
What do you think is going to happen when the rates do go back down? They probably aren't going to get down to the 2s and 3s. They could, but who knows? But when they go down, all these people who got out of the market because rates went up, they're going to flood in. I mean, they signed year leases. They did all this stuff. So the market's going to get much tighter. I found it very interesting. People were willing to pay 70, 80, 90,000 over the list price of a home, but they aren't willing to pay 3% more in interest for a year or two until the rates go back down.
Isn't it crazy?
It's
and
nuts.
You're not having to fight for it. Like that's the biggest thing is you might be able to even negotiate some off of that purchase price and buy your rate down. And you are literally sitting there $50,000 ahead of the game, but you don't like it because it's a 7% interest rate instead of a 3% interest rate. And you're like, time out. Wait a minute. I don't know who you've been talking to, but we need to, stop talking to them about real estate. Talk to them about something else, but not real estate. And let me help you get in front of somebody that can help you put on paper so that you can see why you are in the driver's seat.
Right.
So we've not seen a lull in our business. So many agents are saying, oh, well, everybody's waiting on the interest rates. No, they're not. Not if you can explain it right.
Right.
And not if you have people in your corner that can explain it right.
Right.
I mean, I can explain this much, but I can get you in front of people that can explain this much and why it all makes sense to everybody.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I love paying somebody else's mortgage.
So fun, right? Right here, let me give you $1,400 a month,
All right. So I want people to get out of renting, and I want you to be able to help them. So what's the best way they can contact you?
My cell phone, my direct line straight to me. Call me or text me, 317-413-8352. 317-413-8352. And it is so non-committal. I am not that real estate agent that is going to henpeck you to death until you do something. I am here for as much information as you want or as little information as you want. I'm going to share my app with you. You can go out house hunting on your own. You can drive around. All I ask is you give us, my team, an opportunity to earn your business, because we'll earn it. I promise. I'm not asking for anything to be given to me. Give us an opportunity to earn it.
That's fantastic, because that's what everybody, anybody who's really good can earn the business. That's the way we feel.
We attach every single client of ours gets 2 agents to them. If you're a buyer, you work with 2 of our agents all the time, because when one is busy, the other one will show it to you, and vice versa. And if those 2 are busy, we're going to go right down the line, and you will never have to wait to see a house for us. Never. We will always be there ready for you.
Which is fantastic for them and your agents, because now people can go on vacation and take time off and have a life.
Well, and you're not fighting so hard because we're not waiting day 2, 3, 4, and 5 when something gets listed. we're going to get in there. We're going to put together an offer if it's one that you like. That is, and we're going to explain to you why we need to be aggressive if you like it. If you don't like it, let's keep shopping. I have no problem with that. But it's going to be advantageous because day 2, 3, and 4, and 5, you're going to have 5 and 6 showings. And on day 1, there are some agents that are like, well, I can't get you in until Tuesday. Well, not us. We'll get you in today.
Right. That's awesome. And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can call 317-672-1938. It's 317-672-1938, and follow us for more Indy's Real Estate Gurus.
A reminder, if you have any friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, refinance, let us know. We'd be more than happy to help you. Michelle, thank you for joining us on our show today. It's been a pleasure having you on.
I've never done this. This is so fancified. I love it. It's fun.
Well, we appreciate it. And you're fantastic. Your stories are great.
Thanks.
You're a great agent, but you're obviously also a phenomenal person. But your husband sounds like
He's the real deal. You need to get him on. He's not got as many stories as I do. And he is... he'll bring a spreadsheet and you guys can all go over it together.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we'll have him on.
That'll be
for the offer.
I'm kidding. He's got a very dry sense of humor. He's very hysterical, actually. He's a pretty funny guy.
Branch NMLS number 33041. Rick Rittman's NMLS number 664589. Ian Arnold's NMLS number is 1995469. Equal housing opportunity. Some restrictions apply.